Hello and welcome to my Elite Dangerous, the day-to-day grind. Grind is the key word. Preparing for fleet carriers. Fleet carriers is the name. And cargo missions is what we're going to be doing for credits. Sothis and COs. We have 8.132 and we're going to be going over 8.15. So every 50 million we bring you another video on our cargo missions and our growing of our balance credits, because that is king right now, is credits, as much as you can do. And so that's what we're doing. Because fleet carriers are going to eat up 5 billion of that come June. And we'll want to put another billion, or $1.5 billion, into the account of the fleet carrier, because that's where the daily or the weekly upkeep charge gets pulled out. So we need to discuss what we know so far and have an Oculus Rift, so you'll have to excuse me when I lift it up to look at my notes. It will be sold to individuals, not groups. Groups can be allowed to land on it, but individuals that have 5 billion or greater, really over 5 billion, because you have to put some in the account for the upkeep charge. So it's individuals, and they can give access to their squadron, their friends, their squadron and friends, everybody, or give access to nobody but themselves, where it's just the owner. It has a maximum jump range of 500 light years. Now it has a fuel tank of 1,000 tons of tritium, and it's 1 ton per light year jump. So that means you can only have a maximum of 2 500 light year jumps in the gas tank. Now you do have 25,000 tons of storage area. Now it's total storage area. That's for your ships, that's for the outfitting things, that's probably for your storage of your modules, stored modules. That's probably ship fuel, that's probably everything. Takes up that 25,000 tons. But you can also put tritium in there. That can be with the tritium depot. My guess is we'll be able to transfer from storage into the fuel tank. So if you were able to use 21 or a little over, or say 22,000 out of the 25,000 of tritium plus the fuel tank, you could actually make it from the bubble to Colonia without refueling. And many feel that tritium will be very inexpensive, just like fuel is inexpensive to those that have 5+ billion. Now, if you're just starting out, even fuel costs, it's not super cheap, but we're talking 50 to 90 credits per ton of tritium. Would be about if it's 90, the maximum, 2.3 million to go from the bubble to Colonia at over 22,000 light years. So in the whole scheme of things, that's really not that bad. So then you would buy another 2.3 million worth of say 23 tons, and you would make your way back for another 2.3 million. Now the upkeep cost is a minimum of 10 million and could go as high as 25 million per week if you play the game or not. It's going to be 10 million minimum and up to 25 million. So this is not for those that do not have, are able to have 5 billion by June. And what we're trying to show you is you can have 5 million by June. You could actually, if you played about 6 hours a day and just grinded it, you could have 5 million credits within roughly 10 days. Just running missions from Sothis to Ceos. So, and I show you how to do it. And the main thing that you have to do is to build your reputation with the factions here, like at Sothis Mining and Ceos. So let's bring up the missions board. You see this bar that's underneath their names and their positions is maxed out. You will have to do that. You'll have to max them out. And the way you do that is deliver missions, and when you can, accept reputation. Sys left. Sys left. I have voice attack, and sometimes you have to say it twice. But I have mapped some controls to voice. See where it says you can take 10.5 million with 2 reputations added, or you can take 5 reputations and collect 8 million. So you take 2.5 million less, but you get more reputations. That will help your reputations to max it out. Now, you won't see those 10.5 million rewards until you max out the reputation. So they'll be less, but you can max out the reputation. And another thing to do is donate. This is very important to donate. For one, it gives you reputation, and 2, you will see 2 and 3. You'll see these. Delivery 3 units. Sys left. Let's find one. For 1.3 million, you'll deliver 3 units. 2 to 3 units. That's what happens when you donate. They start giving you those 2 to 3 units for around or over $1 million. Now you can do reputation on them too. You see there's 5 reputations for 500,000 credits. So you can keep building that reputation. That's very important to make up to 22 million between Sothis and Ceos in one run. Now that's with a cargo hull of 280 in the Python. Sys right. Sys right. You see I have 280 cargo space units. So right now it's full. We're ready to go to Babbage and reach that 8.15. Sys left. Clarify that. Babbage is where we're going. There will be 12 to 13 stations that will have a contact, a fleet carrier vendor. So in contacts at 12 to 13 different stations, we'll have a tab for fleet carrier vendor. And at that location, there'll be a showroom that will show you the different layouts that they provide for a fleet carrier. There will be a default fleet carrier. There will be an Explorer fleet carrier. There'll be a Trader fleet carrier. And there'll be a mining fleet carrier. So we'll find out more on April the 7th at about 5 a.m. Central Time, 11 UTC. And I'm getting mixed signals about what it's going to cost during the beta. Some have said in the past it's 10% of the... Now it's an instance. They took a snapshot of their server up to 2 weeks prior to the beta, so up to 2 weeks ago. I was at 6.3 billion 2 weeks ago, so it could be at 2.3 or 6.3. Some say that they will, during the beta, only charge you 10% of the cost. So if it's 5 billion, it would be 500 million that you can be an owner just through the beta. It doesn't affect your main account. And you're like my 8.1 billion, it won't affect that one. So you can spend all of, like mine would be 6.3 of 2 weeks ago. I can spend the whole 6.3 during the beta, and it won't affect my 8.1 in the main profile. You will have 16 landing pads. That's 8 smalls, 4 mediums, and 4 large landing pads. Now you cannot land a small ship on a medium or a large. You cannot land a medium ship on a small or a large, and you cannot land a large on a small or a medium pad. See, I have a cutter that's a large, and I have a Python that's a medium. So they would land... The Python would land on a medium pad, one of the 4 medium pads, and the Python or the cutter would land on a large. Okay, you will have a fleet carrier management. So just like when we come to Sothis Mining, we get this services screen, you will get a fleet carrier management screen when you land on the fleet carrier. But what's even better, sits right. So you got 3 tabs down here. If you have a fleet carrier, you'll have 3 tabs in the middle. The middle one will be Fleet Carrier Management, FC Management. That allows you to control your fleet carrier remotely from anywhere in the galaxy. So you could be, for an example, in Colonia, your ship, and your fleet carrier could be in the bubble, and you can call it. And you can transfer fuel from storage into the fuel tanks and call it up to Colonia if you had, say, 23 tons of tritium. So that's pretty cool. You can deposit credits into your fleet carrier and vice versa. So where my balance is 8.1, I could take, say, 1.5 and transfer it into the fleet carrier's balance, and that's for the upkeep charge and purchases, possible purchases for the, you'll have a commodities market too, so possible purchases could come out of there too. But what money that you make from commodities when you sell, if you have, you can put a tariff, you can make profit on what you buy to what you sell prices. So you could transfer funds from the fleet carrier back to your main balance too. There is secure trading. So if you're into black market type stuff and illegal cargo, there is a secure trading on your fleet carrier. And the reason they say secure, security forces and the factions cannot see the transactions being made in your secure trading. They can't scan your fleet carrier and say, oh, he's got liquor or imperial slaves or narcotics. They can't do that. But they did say there can be, based on ships that leave your fleet carrier, if they're scanned by security forces and they have illegal cargo, they can put two and two together. And it could affect your reputation with those factions. So you can have shipyard and outfitting and refuel, repair and restocking and remote workshop, and you can have all of these services on your fleet carrier. Now that adds to your weekly upkeep charge. So it's $10 million for the base upkeep charge, but as you add services to your fleet carrier, that rises. It could rise as high as $25 million for a week, because you have to hire crews for each one of those services. And the bridge is a crew, the crew that jumps your fleet carrier from place to place. And I don't know if you have seen when the megaships, videos of the megaships going into hyperspace, but it's this cloud with lightning, and the ship goes through the cloud. So a cloud is created in front of your fleet carrier with lightning and a roar, loud roar, and that is pretty cool. So when we do the videos on the fleet carriers, I'll probably take snippets of video from Frontier where they show the fleet carrier going through the cloud or taking off. So we'll probably add that too, because now if we're on the outside watching, and we'll probably do that too. One of the jumps I will be in, say, the Python outside of the fleet carrier, and we'll tell it to jump, and you can see it. You have livery, however you want to say that, where you paint jobs and fins and kits. They have those for the fleet carrier too, and several videos ago, and you need to watch that, when we were at Babbage, I showed both the Python in the hangar and the cutter, so you need to watch those. I use a cobalt color. They don't look as good in the hangar, but out in space or on a planet they just glisten, and it's really sharp. And I have fins, side fins, and I have a spoiler in the back on both of my ships. And I'll try to do the same thing with a fleet carrier, where they all kind of look the same. Now, when you make a jump, it takes an hour to build up to the jump. And after the jump, it takes an hour to cool down. So if you had two jumps, you'd have an hour build up, the jump, hour cool down, then an hour build up, the jump, and an hour cool down. So it would take 4 hours of wait time during two jumps. So it's not real fast. So the one thing that really drives a lot of commanders crazy, especially the explorers, there is no universal cartographics. Not any. You can't deposit your universal cartographics onto the fleet carrier. And that's ruffled some feathers there. Like in contacts, for your bounty vouchers, you can deposit your bounty vouchers to the fleet carrier. And that kind of drives them crazy because it's both data. So if you can do bounties, why can't you do universal cartographics? And maybe that'll be a future thing. Maybe they'll do it because so many people are screaming. And several years ago, they talked about support ships. No, they took that out. There's no the only support ships for your fleet carrier is the owner's ships, and those that he gives permission can be support ships. They can go get cargo and deposit that cargo into your cargo hold. Those that you give permission to. Your fleet carrier is indestructible. You cannot destroy it, or no one else can destroy it. It's indestructible. Aliens, Thargoids, cannot destroy your fleet carrier. Pirates cannot destroy your fleet carrier. Other commanders cannot destroy your fleet carrier. And it's just like a station. If you're in the area of a station and you fire on another commander, the station will fire on you. And security forces at times will patrol near your fleet carrier to help protect your fleet carrier. So, and they will fire on potential enemies, and so will your fleet carrier. It'll fire. Your crew will fire on them. That's part of that crew charge. Okay, there is 2 betas. One is April the 7th in 2 days, starting at 5 a.m. Central, 11 UTC. And on your launcher, there'll be a FC beta selection. Now that's totally different from your normal selection, your Elite Dangerous or your Horizon tab. So it does not affect, like this is my main account, my main balance, 8.1 at the moment. It does not affect that. It's a copy of where it was previous. Now, we don't know how far back, but normally it's about 2 weeks. So my balance in my normal, which is the Horizons, would be 8.1. And I could be running around in the fleet carrier doing all this buying and selling and mining and everything else in beta. It does not affect your main account. So after the beta's over, your main account is where it was. Now you can go back and forth between the beta and your main account. So you can do some gameplay in your main account with the 8.1 billion, and then you could go do the beta in the 6.3 that they'll take up to 5 billion, but it could be the 10% of the 5 billion. It could be only 500 million. Some is speculating that Frontier is not giving us all the information. Some of it they said you'll find out at beta. You'll find out on April the 7th on some of it. So I'm giving it to you as I find out about this information. So there's the April 7th, and that's for PC users only. In May, it'll be for PC users and console users. So some of you will have to wait till May to be able to be a beta tester. And in June is when they do the main update and you can buy one. Like, I will be buying one. I will be adding up to like 1.5 billion to its account. And we will be making probably tons of videos, and the fleet carrier will be our base, and it'll be our traveling base, home station. So you, in the future, during the betas and after June, or during June and after, you will be seeing the fleet carrier quite a bit, because that's home base. Okay, let's say you buy one of these in June. Let's say in July you're tired of the upkeep. It's just too much. You don't want to grind that much. You don't want to come out to Sothis and Cios and do all these cargo runs to support your ship. You can decommission your fleet carrier. It takes a week to decommission it. You can't use the fleet carrier during that week of decommission. And where you paid $5 billion, they'll give you back $4 billion, and probably what's in your balance minus the charge for that week. So you don't get all of it back. You'll lose like 1 billion credits if you decommission it. Okay. And there's always something I was thinking about, and then I forget. Is this right? In Codex Player's Handbook, there will be a tab called Fleet Carrier, which will have all the information, like mining. You have all of the information on mining. You'll have one for fleet carriers. So that's pretty good too. If you have questions, hopefully it'll all be in there. Okay. The way I plan on using the fleet carrier, and I kind of mentioned it, it will be home base for me and my ships and my modules. I've got 72 stored, most of them modded modules, that when I was modifying my modules in the Python and in the Cutter, I made extras. And they're not all of 72 are modded, but probably 50 to 55, maybe 60 are modded in there. They're all going to live on the fleet carrier. Everything I own will be on the fleet carrier. And I'll go like a week at a time. Like, we'll come out to Sothis. I might be in a neighboring system just because of the pirates. Because if I use, say for an example, my cutter that has 720 units of storage, cargo hold. Let's say I go into the main stations, and most of the stations in their commodities market will sell tritium. Let's say I load up 720 units of tritium, and I leave Don's Inheritance, for an example, the large station. I don't want to go into Super Cruise and be constantly bombarded by pirates. But if I have the fleet carrier in a neighboring, the closest uninhabited system, which out here most of it's uninhabited near Sothis and Cios, then I might not have interdictions, because I'll be loaded down when I go into hyperspace to get to the neighboring system, But I'll be empty when I come back to load up at, say, Don Inheritance or Newsom or one of the other large stations. And there is a remote workshop on your fleet carrier, and advanced maintenance, and or can have all of that. It's how you set it up. You can have refuel, repair, restock, and all of that on your fleet carrier. And I said it's home base. I will have all my mining stuff on there, and we'll do some surface mining and some deep core mining. I've done surface mining many times before, but I haven't done any deep core, so we're going to have to do that, especially by June time frame. I don't know if I'll do it during the beta. We'll see. Most commanders and people that's been around for a while feel that, and because Frontier has not given us that information, but most feel that tritium will be pretty inexpensive, and the only reason you would mine it is because you're outside of the bubble and you don't have a station to buy it from. But there is 2 stations like on the way to Colonia, so you could be within jump range of those stations and keep a good, say, 10,000 tons of tritium on your fleet carrier. You could go 10,000 light years away from those 2 stations, or from Colonia, and then you could you could go like 5,000 and then come back to one of those stations to fill up again. Or you can use more of your cargo space, so you'll have a running total, so you'll know what's left or what you can put in there. After you've put your ships on there and all of your stored modules and all of your services and all of that, you'll know what the balance of your storage is, and you can decide what you want to put in there. If you want to put tritium, you can put that in there. Okay, for at the moment, I think that's most of it. If I think of something, I'll have to write it down on my note sheet, because I keep thinking I want to tell you something, and then I lose that train of thought. So that's why I try to keep it in notes, so I can just tell you everything, and then we can deliver this cargo that we have to get over the 8.15, which we need to do. So we're going to Babbage to deliver this cargo. Sys left. Let's do it from here. And you see the red ship tab. That's where my cutter is at, and the original Sidewinder. And I'll probably put the original Sidewinder on the fleet carrier too. You never know. I might use it, which I haven't used it since I was in the Pilots Federation, or since I bought the Python. Let's get going. Under, or at the bottom of this video to the right, you see my subscribe button. Please press that. It doesn't cost you anything at all, but it sure helps me. So please subscribe. It helps me with YouTube.
Landing gear retracted. Ship released. Engines engaged. Frameshift drive charging.
And underneath the video, at the bottom of the description, you'll see options to donate. Please consider donating to the cause of over 500 videos of every topic
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
that I've done within Elite Dangerous. Since January, the 1st of January, I've been recording everything and putting together videos of about everything, working with the engineers, getting the Guardian FSD booster, and I try to be as detailed as possible. So underneath the video to the left, you'll see my YouTube channel, GFM_RDG, where you'll find those over 500 videos. So I'm trying to be as educational as possible, a video reference of my adventures and the day-to-day grind and Ultimate Fishing Simulator and VR pinball, and so those are some of the things that I have out there. The 2 videos of 7 interdictions, you'll probably want to watch that. And going to Dav's Hope and Jameson crash site to collect materials for the engineers and their synthesis, how to use it, materials for refueling, repair, and reload your SRV, and to repair and reload your ship with synthesis. And there's a interdiction video of 6 when I'm in the cutter. So that is always pretty crazy because the cutter is not quite as agile as the Python. That's chain. There's number 2. I had 7 just. See, I do some video, or not videos, but cargo runs in between the 50 million. So you don't see every one of them, but I had a 7 interdiction just on one of those too. And this is number 2. We have another interdictor down there behind our ship. See, if you move kind of erratically, he'll sometimes go ahead and do it. Just kind of want to get it out of the way. I mean, you can't avoid the interdictions. It's a feature of the game since the developers are all from Somalia. Sys left. And then I'll go to Super Cruise Assist. Watch your bottom sensor with that dot in the center, and pirates have superpowers because they can just pop out of thin space. No one else can, but pirates can. See, it's acting like it's on the other side. No, it's on this side. It'd be dotted line if it was on the other side. So we're watching for a pirate to show up. They like to show up at the last second. So then we got to move away from the planet if they do. Because they'll run you into that planet on purpose. like that one. But we didn't have enough time. At 1 million meters, it comes out of Super Cruise.
DeLacy, Romeo, Golf, India. It's a pleasure to have you at this federal station, Commander.
Just left.
Mission critical message.
And we have been attacked by pirates at the station.
Okay, Commander. Proceed to landing pad 03.
So
Automated docking confirmed.
in my YouTube channel, search under pirate attack, and you'll see, like right there, they do that. They come out of Super Cruise right on top of you, and those are pirates. Is this up? See, he says now, or you have no chance now. That's what he says. Is this up? Now he says that, but I've been playing for 8 months. I died twice the second day I played. I have not died since. So they have been unsuccessful. And I don't give in to pirates. I don't let them take my cargo. So, you know, I try to defeat the interdiction, and if you don't, maximize your speed, boost as often as possible. You see I have the heat sinks, and you'll have to cool down your...
Contact. Disembark when ready.
You'll have to cool down your ship to get back into Super Cruise, because they use thermal weapons. And since my shields are modded, my shield boosters are modded by the engineers, I don't think I've ever been lower than 1 ring. They can usually take 1.5 rings. So I have 1.5 left. Okay, we're at 8.132. We're shooting for 8.15. So that's going to be 17.7 roughly. So let's see if we did it. I believe we did it if I calculated it right. Just in my head. And that's kind of scary if I'm doing something in my head. So far we're at 8138. So we'll unload these 280 units that we have. Now we're 8141. We have like 8.83. There's a 10.5. See? 8.15. We hit it. And we still have a 3. Is this right? And we still have 11. That might be a partial. Yep. That'll help us later. We needed 17.7. And we got 2.5 over that. So 18.2, 19.2. So can you handle making 19.2 million in one cargo run? That's what I'm saying. And if I wasn't doing video and talking through fleet carriers, I could do it in 15-20 minutes. 19.2. Potentially up to 100 million an hour. And it's probably more like 75 million an hour. But you could do 75 million an hour just running cargo missions. Yeah, you have to put up with interdictions, but you know, to make those kind of credits. Now we should be able to get, or sometimes, a mission back to Sothis mining. Which is just gravy on top of it. It's just the return trip. See, that's one of those deliver 3s because we donated in the past. But we're not doing intra within COs. We're trying to go back to Sothis mining. And so far, no go. Nope. There's not any. Sometimes there is and sometimes there isn't. So it's going to be 8.15. So now we got to get back to Sothis mining to complete this video. Is this left? And sometimes we get interdicted in Sothis. Up to 2 times lately. That's why I might put the fleet carrier in a system that's next to Sothis, where I don't have to go into Super Cruise with cargo or with tritium. See, there is one that's pretty close, I think. Yeah, this one. This guy. Yeah, I think it's uninhabited, so we might put it here. No system description, so it's probably uninhabited. Reg GUA FOQ B32. It's 10.5 light years from Sothis. So that's probably going to be where the fleet carrier is going to be. It's that close to Sothis. And so we can go to Sothis to buy the fuel. But if you'll look, we're kind of out here in nowhere land, which I like too. But to get back to civilization's all the way over here. See, Maya's over here. And then you've got, these are bookmarks of other places, and that little bolt's where engineers are. You see the original Pilots Federation. You see all the engineers where they're located, and see way over here is Sothis Ceos. It's about 550 light years. This is probably going to be home way out here, because we could mine in this uninhabited region, but it's still within the bubble. So that's an idea. Throw and put my fleet carrier, but it's still within jump range. It would probably be 2 jumps, but it's jump range to the rest of the bubble. You press that subscribe button. That'll really help me, plus you get notified when I create these fleet carrier videos. Doesn't cost you anything, but it'll help me with YouTube in the future. I have to have a minimum subscribers, and I don't have that. Not even close.
Docking coupler disengaged. Go for departure.
So I need your help with these subscribers, and please consider donating to the cause of creating all these videos. Very time consuming, hardware, software, production equipment, sound equipment. It's not cheap, very expensive.
Frameshift drive charging.
Okay, we'll go back to Sothis mining to complete this video. As I learn more about
3, 2, 1, engage.
As I learn more about fleet carriers, I'll bring that to you on each of the videos that we do. And working toward the Felicity Farseer engineer, we had trouble finding meta-alloys. They were in short supply, so I went to the Thargoid surfacite and picked them up. That's a creepy place. And what I understand, if you kill scavengers, you get ARXs for that. I don't know that for a fact, but I have heard that, and those things are creepy. They're mechanical scavengers out at the Thargoid locations. So my combat experience is with skimmers, stingers, and guardian skimmers. Now there's guardian sentinels, which I've had a battle with them too, because I got the FSD Guardian blueprint. So watch that video too, Guardian surfacite. And you can increase your jump range by up to 10.5 with a class 5 Guardian FSD booster. And I have like 4 of those, counting the one that's in the, one that's at Don's Inheritance here in Sothis. Because when I travel to go buy the fleet carrier, I will have the Guardian FSD booster on board. Sis left. And when leaving the station, there's like a few stations where they'll say, "Commander, watch your 6." Yeah, we always have to watch our 6. That's right behind us for those super-powered pirates. And they can travel across the system in just seconds because they got superpowers. I like keep people either in front of me or beside me. Sis left. And I have ships that try to beat me to the request.
Docking request granted.
So I try to hit it right at 7.50 or right under it. and sometimes they'll still beat you. It's just to frustrate you. Is that obstacle course. That Frontier likes to make Elite dangerous. You have to get through the pirates and stuck throttles and
Landing gear deployed.
pirate attacks at the stations. And I'd rather, explore and trade in peace instead of all of this drama. But a lot of people like the drama.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
And that's why there's a lot of TV shows about drama. They call them dramas. People like drama. Is this right? Nope, we're empty. Okay. Well, that completed this video at 8.15. The next video will be 8.2. Again, on March the 26th, we were 6.3, and with all the production and all the videos that I've created and all that time, we still almost have 2 billion from just March the 26th. So you can do it, and you can do probably twice that if you're not doing videos. So make sure you press that subscribe button. That'll help me greatly. Please consider donating and watch more of my videos of those 500 plus videos that are out there. So until the next video that we talk about fleet carriers to what we know at that point, and we go for the 8.2 billion. We'll see you then, and thank you for watching.